All right, so now what I'd like to do is reduce the bulk in the amount that I shortened. And I'm just going to take my rotary cutter, you could use a sharp pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut right along the folded edge of the extra so I can get at those two layers separately. All right, so now I've got two separate layers that I can deal with. All right, so to reduce the bulk of this excess length that I took out, I'm going to grade these edges. And I'm going to make the one closer to the hem, or the one facing the hem, really short. Like I'm going to use the serger and I'm going to serge it so it's about a 1/4 inch away from the seam. And then the second one, I'm going to just serge a little bit off. That way when I press them down flat, the edges will be graded, all right, and that will make it less bulky. All right, I have my serger set up for a 3-thread wide, and what I'm going to do is I want to get to this layer first, but I don't want to cut anything else off. So I'm going to put my hem against the serger, making sure it's facing away, and I'm going to get in there, and actually I'm going to cut myself a little starting point so I don't have to veer in. So basically I'm just going to cut out a little chunk of this hem to my desired starting width. See how I want it to be about a 1/4, so I'm just creating that window so I can get right in there under the presser foot. And that way I'll know that I'm making my, I'm trimming off the right amount. Okay, so now that I've got my presser foot snugged up against the edge that I cut out, I've got my knife situated so it's going to start cutting, continue cutting right where I made that window. So now I'm just going to serge around using a 3-thread wide. Now to keep myself even all the way around, I'm watching where my seam is and I'm keeping it centered under my presser foot so I know I'm leaving a consistent amount as I serge. Well, you can see that I've been pretty successful because as I come to my starting point, I'm just going to join, the knife is going to meet where I had cut out that little section. All right, and then once I cut off the rest of the hem and I'm in that little cutout section, I'm going to put my knife down so it doesn't cut any more off, and I'm just going to overlap my start point about a 1/4 inch. Okay, and after I've overlapped, I'm going to lift my presser foot up, push it to the back, and chain off the fabric. Okay, for my second raw edge, I'm going to push my finished edge to the direction of my hem, and I'm going to put that facing the machine as well. And I'm not going to create a cutout this time because I'm just going to skim along the edge. So I'm going to put my knife back up, and I'm going to get my edge under there so I can skim a little off. And I'm just going to make sure that my finished edge is facing the hem all the way around as I go. Okay, so as I go, I'm going to check it because I don't want to cut it or catch it in my stitching either. As I go across the front, I'm going to trim off just a little bit extra than I did in the back. And as I get to the side seam again, I'm going to trim off nothing to across the back. All right, when I cut off my serger chain, I'm going to put my knife down, and I'm just going to overlap my stitching about a 1/4. And then I'm going to lift up the presser foot, slide it to the back, and chain off. All right, let's see what our hem looks like now. All right, so from the right side of my jeans, you can barely see the hemline. I mean, you can see it a little bit, but when you're wearing these and you're walking around, no one's going to be able to zero in on that. Okay, and then on the inside, I've got this very neat looking hem, and it is hanging loose there because I've got the two different lengths. It just reduces the bulk, and it makes it easier to finish the edges of the bulky side and inseam. If it's bothering you that this edge is flapping around, you can just take a few hand stitches and tack it in place, like along the side seams and at the center, front and back, and then it will stay put for you. That's how you can keep the extra from flapping up. You can also trim it shorter if you'd like to have shorter edges there. I just think the little bit longer edge lays flatter and nicer than a short pokey edge. So that's why I left the full amount, you know, minus the little bit I trimmed off. All right, so that's how you shorten your jeans without losing the original hem. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below, or you can visit my blog at J Stern Designs. Just to mention for you Baby Lock Ovation owners, I used page 29 to set my machine up for a 3-thread overlock wide. That's the stitch I used. So if you're interested in what manual page I was using, that's what it was. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next week.